Unspoken Issues.
It's time to continue the Rafferty Saga. I want to give you another long episode for this show as we are getting into the finale pretty soon. So we're going to do 3 issues this episode. Firearm issues 16 and 17, and then Prime number 20. Our special last episode will be myself and Chris Armstrong bringing you the final issue of Firearm. Can't wait to get Chris's thoughts on that. But in the meantime, here's the penultimate episode. Let's start with Firearm number 16. And we are going to get, I believe, an origin story for Rafferty here. As we look at the cover, this is Firearm number 16. The blood spatter on the front. The Rafferty Saga number 4. We have Rafferty, who is leaning up against a brick wall. His signature knife in his hand looks like he's picking his fingernails with it, but it's covered in blood, so I can't say that that's the best hygienic approach of cleaning your fingernails. Then what looks to be somebody's dead. Don't know who it is. They're just lying on the ground, and they look like they have a gold costume of some sort. Rafferty, of course, with his signature grin. Did Rafferty have a gold tooth with a red heart in it, or just a regular tooth with a gold heart in it? Because this cover, he's got his grin going on there, and it looks like a gold heart on his tooth. So let's get into it and see what we got going on. The narration here appears to be Rafferty talking to the reader, talking about how this will not be a story about Alex Swan. This will be a story about Rafferty, and he won't hurt you unless you're an ultra. In that case, he wants you dead. Our creative team, James Robinson writing, Arnie Jorgensen on pencils, Mike Christian on inks, Patrick Owsley on letters, Moose Ballman, color designer, Food Hammer, with Andy Walton on interior colors here. Hello, hi, howdy. The name's Rafferty. He's going to tell us every juicy factoid about himself. We've got a bit of a dual narration going on here. Rafferty says, I was born in Georgia to one of the better families. The regular narrator comes in and says, well, the part about Georgia's true at least, but his family was poor. All right. Interesting approach here. So where shall I start? I'm 38. Rafferty is 42. Thanks, narrator. Looks like Rafferty killed his own parents, but as Rafferty tells us, there was a tragedy that took them. And our narrator informs us that it was actually Rafferty, and he blamed it on a black neighbor from down the street. Rafferty took what little money he inherited and sold his parents' stuff so he could head out. It looks like it was the late 60s, early 70s. A lot of drugs going on. Okay, looks like Rafferty got involved with a crime organization, a crime family. Started dating one of the daughters. The brother gets upset about something he had done. Rafferty kills the brother, and now the family's after him. And because of that, he joined the military so he could get away from the crime family. I don't know where Rafferty's headquarters is. It looks like some type of floating ship, maybe. I'll have to pay a little bit more attention here to see if I can figure it out. It looks like it's almost a blimp. He loved the combat that he found in the military. So he apparently joins the Special Forces. And this issue drops February 9th, 1995. I saw an advertisement a couple issues back for Godwheel, February of 1995, January 95 cover date. So I'm sure it was probably put together sometime in December 94, January 95. And we have another advertisement for Godwheel, and there's Thor. Mark Pacella, Joe Mad, Aaron Lopresti, Gary Frank, George Perez, Chris Ulm, Dan Donko, Mike Barr, Gerard Jones, James Hudnall. All right, so I come across this 2-page splash. I think he's still in the military. My team was Unit T, Tango, as we were known. I was a bastard then, vicious, deadly, and I was the nicest among them. There's this guy. So they're showing this 2-page splash of this unit, and there's this one dude. The best way to describe this, a backpack, right? But the backpack is a massive cannon with a bunch of lights and a weird handle trigger system on the back. So he's firing this thing. I don't think this is Rafferty. I think this is someone in his unit. In order to fire this thing, you have to lean down, because the backpack cannon would point straight up as you're standing up. He has to lean over to point this thing forward and shoot it. There's a massive cannon that shoots out, and there's a small machine gun on it. There's like 6 lights. It's, chain fed with these bullets. What a crazy looking contraption of a gun. Another 2-page splash here. Well, I say splash, but it's 3 panels on these 2 pages together. It looks like Team Tango was pretty busy. The narrator tells us that Rafferty started to feel that his killing was an art. Okay. Something happened on March 17th, 1990. He's in the Middle East, and it looks like something went wrong. But they say Rafferty killed 1 Ultra, the only fatality on that side. And Rafferty was the only survivor from his. You see, it looks like he killed him with his knife. No wonder he fancies that knife so much. And it looks like Rafferty takes trophies. After escaping and being in the hospital, he says he woke up one day and realized that his mission was to kill every Ultra. He leaves the military, finds a bunch of drug dealers, kills them. In 1992, he found his first Ultra, an Ultra by the name of Sigma. That name would have went over with Generation Alpha right about now. So he killed Sigma, but realized he needed to figure out a way so he could find all Ultras, not the ones that were just in the public spotlight. And in 93, he finds an Ultra by the name of Edwin Mosley. So Mosley, I guess, really rich Ultra, and he apparently offered Rafferty a slice. Mosley kind of agrees with the vision that Rafferty has about Ultras being a threat. So yeah, he offers Rafferty to join him, and he'll assist in whatever way he can for Rafferty to kill the other Ultras. Okay, so Mosley developed a gadget that could detect Ultras, and now no one was safe. Now it looks like he's getting ready to take out Prime. We are in the present, and this arrow is shot, goes right into the side of Prime's head, and boom, his head explodes. We have a little editor's note at the bottom. See Prime number 20 for Prime's perspective on this. Oh boy. And this is where we get the phone call to Alec where he says he killed Prime. And our next issue, that's how we end this thing. Next issue, the beginning of the end. We learned some stuff about Rafferty. Nothing too revealing in my opinion. He's a villain. Killed his mom and dad. Went into the military. The one unique thing that stands out is he's teamed with an Ultra, Mosley, to take out other Ultras. Next issue, determined to assassinate the miracle baby. Here we go. All right. I knew that baby was coming back into this. Penny Slater is the name of the baby, apparently. Rafferty begins his assault on the Crystal Cathedral. Alex Swan learns there are dangers far greater than marriage. Brought to you by James Robinson, Arnie Jorgensen, Keith Conroy, and Rodney Gates. All right. So I think the way that this is set up is we are going to do issue 17 and issue 20. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in to issue 17. Oh, we are hitting some Marvel Malibu crossover goodness here. Rune Silver Surfer ad here, April of 95. I'm going to post it in the Comic Book House Ads Facebook group. 30 years, folks. 30 years. Oh, goodness. Take me back. All right, we're getting there. Jeez Louise. There's another one. One of these Marvel villains will forever change the Ultraverse. Dr. Doom, Loki, Thanos, Magneto, be prepared. All right, Firearm, number 17, number 5 on the Rafferty Saga. Our cover looks to be... Actually, let's do our creative team first. James Robinson writing, Keith Conroy penciling, Rodney Gates and Ken H. Branch, and Jason Martin on inks, lettered by Lorena Mappa, and colored by Shannon Blanchard. So we have what appears to be a Vegas-style chapel. Elvis looks to be marrying, I assume this is Ellen and Alec on the front. Some pictures of Elvis in the back. And yeah, all right, here we go. All right, well, we've got Rafferty doing some narration. He's just reveling in the fact that he's killed so many Ultras. He's talking to the reader like, you love it, you know you do. He's going to let things die down, and then he's going to go after another one. For Rafferty, it's a game. He likes to kill an Ultra, let some time go by, and then do it again, and he wants this to continue as long as possible. Mosley's checking in on his progress here. They're referencing Prime number 20 again. I almost feel like I needed to read that before I read this, but we'll see. He does say that he bagged the big one, Prime. Mosley's going to put him on the path of killing that girl that supposedly Jesus reincarnated. Mosley believes that the baby girl is an abomination. Her name is Penny Slater. Okay, we're kicking over to Alex Swan here. Apparently he was married before, married to a girl by the name of Doris, and Doris apparently cheated on him. Okay, we're in Vegas. Ah, yes, he's going to be getting married to Ellen. And we are right there at the end of the ceremony. I now pronounce you man and wife. Oh. The Rafferty Saga Part 5, Alex Swan's Best Day. I gave you those credits from Mike's Amazing World, which was Keith Conroy, Rodney Gates, Ken H. Brantz, Jason Martin. The credits in this, James Robinson writer, this is from the comic, Sneak E. Pete on the layouts, Keith Conroy penciling, Rodney Gates, Ken Brantz, Jason Martin inking. Oh, I wonder who Sneak E. Pete is. I'm not even going to look it up. You guys ought to figure that one out. Sneak E. Pete. And they are married, and then we switch to a large cathedral compound, which I think we mentioned it was Crystal Cathedral, I think was the name. And here comes Rafferty barreling through with his strike team, taking no prisoners, shooting everybody they can see. The alarm sounded, and they are after the baby. But Rafferty is too late. Somebody beat him to the kid. Now the police have shown up, and the strike team are taking them out. It looks like the father, the pastor of the cathedral, has grabbed the baby and taken off with it. Rafferty finds him and puts 2 crossbow bolts into him, grabs the kid, and is about to plunge the knife into the small baby, but realizes they are surrounded by the cops. Now we're switching to a bookstore. The owner named Yates. They say Yates is not a lodge agent. A lodge is some kind of organization, I think, Alex Swan's involved in. Says Yates is a lodge agent. Not today. The place got bombed. Yates was not a very nice man, apparently. Oh, we got another Ultraverse Marvel Comics tie-in here. Eliminator. Art by Mike Zeck and Dennis Rodier. Written by Canals. The search for the missing Infinity Gem begins here. And I got to talk about this Bravura ad. Bravura? Bravura? What is a bravura? Sorry, that was my best Rob Liefeld imitating Todd McFarlane. It was horrible. All right, we switch gears. We're into the honeymoon suite. Ellen and Alec are passionately embraced. Ellen wants to talk. They're obviously both unclothed. They do a very tasteful way of having her wings cover up the naughty bits. Oh boy. Well, you know, she's having a conversation with this guy after they got married, and she's asking him, was the proposal in response to his ongoing confrontation with Rafferty? Like in wars, when people get married on the spur of the moment because it's a way of doing something positive when there's nothing but death around them. Alex Swan's like, I've been in wars. All Rafferty has done is help me distill my feelings for you. Oh, Alec. So Alec is thinking that she accepted his proposal because he was the only one interested in her. Not a good thing to say to the girl. Ellen says, just don't get killed. Alex says, I can't promise you that. Just do your best. My heart feels so full that it's going to explode. Oh, Alec. And mooch. Oh, here is the news reporting on the siege at Crystal Cathedral. Reverend August, that was his name. Legendary cathedral here in San Diego. The news has found out that Rafferty has a device that allows them to find ultras, even among those whose powers are dormant. He's laced the cathedral with explosives. So any ultra that tries to come in, boom. Looks like somebody called the Silence tried to enter the cathedral, and it exploded, killing the Silence and 3 cathedral workers whom Rafferty had positioned there. Rafferty's made one demand. He wants to talk to Alex Swan. Now, didn't he bring his cell phone? Alex Swan has yet to show up. Alec is seeing the news, and now he has to leave Ellen. Why do I feel like a war bride? Don't get killed. I can't promise. But I will say this, now with you in my life, my wife, I want to live. Keep it warm for me, eh? Keep what warm? All right, so Mr. Garrett has arranged to send Rafferty in by private plane. They make a water landing, I guess close to the cathedral here. One of his goons is asking him why he wants him there. He's like, I've outsmarted him at every stage. He bores me. But Mosley's asking about the baby, and Rafferty's like, I've got it as a hostage, but later the blood will flow. The news is covering that Alec has showed up. Alec has showed up, grabbed a gun in front of the police force who was telling him he can't go in. He's grabbed a policeman and said, you're going to be my escort in. That is not going over so well. They are now training their guns on Alec. Oh, and out of the sky comes Prime. Still alive. Rafferty thought he killed him. Prime is not dead. He shows up and he looks at Alec and says, "Go on, go get him." That's enough, I guess, for the cops to be like, "Okay, put your guns down, let him go in." And we got some, I can't tell who this is that's talking to the media, but he's telling them not to use the nickname Firearm. It's Alex Swan, and you'd better start using that name. And our last page is a big splash of the cathedral. Alex Swan has entered the building. And our next issue, and the last issue of the series, The Death of Alex Swan. Now, before we get there, we've got to take a look at Prime number 20, which may explain how in the world Prime took an arrow to the head and is currently alive. We'll have to find out. All right. We'll get started with Prime number 20 here. And this is interesting because our cover does not have the blood spatter we have seen on other covers. This one has a little box that says, "In this issue, Rafferty strikes again." A little inconsistent with what the Ashcan ad had said, that every issue would contain the blood spatter. Our cover has the muscle-bound Prime flying through what I believe is the air over what looks like a plant of some sort. Our creative team, it's from Prime number 20. This was on the shelves March of 1995. Writer Gerard Jones and Lynn Strazewski. Penciled by Greg Luzniak. Inked by Dennis Jensen. Lettered by Patrick Owsley. And colored by Frank D'Armata. One of the things you got to remember about Prime, even in issue 20, Prime is a 13-year-old kid who can turn into this superhero. So very much like a Shazam analog, or, well, Shazam's probably the best one, Captain Marvel, to kind of use here. But when you look back at it on using today's sensibilities, some of the stuff might have been, oh boy, I don't know. Here it is, this young kid who becomes this godlike adult. And our first page here is him flying and hovering while smooching with some girl. Title of the story is Cupid's Arrow. Our interior colors here, Food Hammer with Kimberly Bitsui. Oh, this is a dream. Look at that. Wait. Okay. So I don't know if it's Prime that's dreaming this or if it's the lady, because we now shift to Washington, D.C., and it looks like there's a guy. I swear, maybe that's the guy who's dreaming it. The girl that is in the dream is getting up from the bed, and they've obviously had a night of passion. Wow, it's true what they say about Ultras. You were terrific. This is the guy talking to the girl. No compunction about smoking in these comics. Rafferty's smoking. This dude's about to pick up a cigarette and light one. So she goes off into the bathroom. She's not feeling very well, nor is she very happy about the situation either. And this guy, all the while, is talking about getting her a costume so she can be this iconic Ultra of wherever they're at. She's puking in a toilet. He keeps talking. She gets mad. She squeezes this radiator and launches it out of this apartment or hotel that they're at. This is in Washington, D.C. Now we go to New York. And here we see Kevin, which I believe is the alter ego of Prime. His mom's come in there. She's wanting him to get ready so they can go to the opera. His mom feels kind of bad because I guess they're going to move to Washington. Kevin's daydreaming about being a superhero. This lady says eventually he'll realize opera is sort of like his comic books, except set to music. I don't think so, Mom. So he's calling Kelly, trying to pretend he's Prime. He's not changed into Prime, but he's trying to disguise his voice. And he's like, "This is Prime. I'd like to talk to you about saving you from that goop creature." She doesn't buy it. She thinks it's Kevin. Finally, Kevin's like, "Okay, yeah, it's me, but just to let you know, Prime wants to really see you." And she says, "Oh my, okay. We're going to Santa Monica, and we're going to hang out on the pier while she shops. If Prime can get there, I'll be at the end of the pier." "That would be slammin'," Kevin says. Slammin'. Kevin's going back to the opera. And later that night, he changes into Prime. He's going to see Kelly. On his way to Santa Monica, as he's flying across the nation, he's thinking about how being Prime's changed his life. His dad's disappeared. His mom's dragged him away from his friends. And now they're going to move to Washington. Okay, now here's where we come across what was going on the cover. We got ourselves a fire at a chemical plant. He's decided to stop in to see if everything's okay. It's a huge oil fire. So he's talking to the firefighters. The firefighters are like, "Well, we kind of got it under control, except with the oil burning like it is, it's going to be a really bad pollutant. There's going to be a lot of black smoke in the air. So Prime's like, well, you know what? Let's get the smoke up to above the cloud layer into the jet stream. So he creates a cyclone that funnels the smoke up, and that's our picture from the front. It's like this massive oil smoke tornado, and that apparently put the fire out. So he is off to Santa Monica to go find Kelly, going as fast as he can because he's running behind. And then all of a sudden, looks like he's struck by a bolt of lightning or something. He says, I shouldn't have stung that much. He's still going. There's Kelly out on the pier. Prime is like, I just hope we get some time, alone. Oh, and she lip locks right on to Prime, giving him a big smoocheroo. She says she's been thinking about doing that ever since you saved me from that thing. I didn't think I'd really have the chance. And Prime's like, was it okay? It was fantastic. Was I okay? You were great. She asks him, are you and Kevin Green the same person? She apparently had seen something that had happened a while back. She says, if you don't tell me, I'm going to go crazy. And he's freaking out a little bit. Doesn't really come out and say it. He says, it's just things aren't always the way they seem. There's the blimp. Rafferty's blimp. He's got his bow and arrow in his hand. Kelly is pressing him to find out if he's actually Kevin Green. Rafferty lets loose the bolt from his arrow. As Prime's sitting there talking to Kelly, this arrow goes through his ear and out his other ear, and Prime just keeps talking. He can't believe there's an arrow sticking out of his ear. Kelly's freaking out. Oh, she's screaming, and then boom. Wow, to be continued. Issue 21 wasn't on the checklist. Issue 20 was. Does Prime get revenge? I mean, he explodes, blows Kelly. I assume she's going to be going off a pier. And Rafferty's up there in his blimp smoking his cigarette with a smile on his face. Next issue, Prime's body has disappeared in the still waters of the Pacific, and the world wonders, is this the end of Prime? Brought to you by Lynn and Jerry, with pencils by Joe Staten and inks by Jeff Whiting. Cover art by Brian Murray of Supreme, if I remember correctly. Lord Pumpkin featuring Marvel's Loki. Oh boy. Sorry, looking at the ads once again. Well, there you go. Issue 20 of Prime is done. We are going to head into our last issue, Firearm number 18, and it'll be a discussion between myself and Chris Armstrong. Be there, ladies and gentlemen, to hear the conclusion of the Rafferty Saga.
Thanks for joining us. Unspoken Issues is part of the UnspokenDecade.com, the home for 90s comics, blogs, and podcasts. Unspoken Issues also has a Facebook group you can join if you are interested. Just search the Unspoken Issues podcast and request to join. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.
Back in 1940, 8 sensational heroes united to create the world's very first superhero team, the Justice Society of America. Now, 85 years later, we're gathering podcasters and bloggers from around the globe for a month-long celebration in an event we're calling JS April. Throughout April 2025, join dozens of content creators as they each share their own unique tributes to the original and greatest superhero team, including all-star podcasters and bloggers like
Justice Society presents
the Longbox Crusade podcast,
Campus Comics Cast,
Supergirl Comic Box Commentary,
the Quarter Bin Podcast,
the Bat Pod,
the Earth 2 Podcast,
FW Team Up,
Diana Prince is the new Wonder Woman,
Fanholes Podcast,
Back to the Bins,
Coffee and Comics,
the Huntress Podcast,
*51.blogspot.com,
Justice Society Origins, a part of John Reed's Comics,
DC Special Cast,
Between the Pages blog,
The Outcasters, a Batman and the Outsiders podcast,
A World on Fire, an All-Star Squadron podcast,
JLA Stories and Friends,
The Monitor Tapes,
a Crisis on Infinite Earths podcast,
Lords of Order, a DC's Dr. Fate fan podcast,
David M. Gallagher at Medium.com,
JSA in the 90s,
Justice League Legacies,
DC Secret Files podcast,
Mike's Geek World,
Pop Culture Affidavit,
the Source Material Comics podcast,
That Giffen Show,
Worst Collection Ever,
The Fantastic Four,
It All Comes Back to Superman.
And that's just some of the podcasters and bloggers who'll be joining in the celebration. Get ready for a thrilling month of beloved characters, fascinating insights, and incredible stories. Follow the action on social media with the hashtag JSApril, and visit our website for a complete list of participating podcasters, bloggers, and what they're each covering at fireandwaterpodcast.com/JSApril.